Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the news behind the news with Rav Kintav on Mix 94.7 FM. And thank you guys for joining us today for today's program. I have with me a celebrity, one of the first on the show, but also especially because it's Women's Month. This is someone who definitely shines and has been a very public figure for many years. And so with that, I have with me Miss Mercedes Wyatt, better known and most known as Elektra.
Good afternoon, Ralph. Thank you for having me, and happy International Women's Month to all the women that are watching, and I wish them all the best, empowerment, and all that good stuff.
Cool. So I won't start off the usual way. While I'll have you go deeper about yourself as well. And we are colleagues, but part of the reason why I really look forward to doing this interview is because there's a lot that goes behind being a media professional, that being the show business, entertainment sector, especially here in St. Martin. And you've been a star in the game, I could say, well-known name and so forth. So I'll start off with asking you, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given in your career?
The best piece of advice that I've ever been given is to be true to your core. Be yourself. Sometimes as women in the community, we have a lot of masks or different hats that we wear, and it's very difficult sometimes to juggle all of them. So I would say be true to your core, know who you are, and always check in with yourself. That's what I would say.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So at what point did you realize this is something you want to do? As a younger woman, what career field were you first interested in, and how did radio become your thing?
Well, as a young girl, I always remembered my aunt and my cousin always happy where there was music, and they would put the radio on and they would be dancing and having fun, and it was always smiles. And I was always fascinated by the radio, as it were, because I thought it was a magic box. I just thought it was a magic box. How I could hear music coming out of this box and somebody talking on the other side, I could not explain it. And for those brief moments that I would hear those magical songs, I would just escape into another world, and it made me feel happy and good. And as I got older, my aunt also was in the radio industry, and she taught me a lot of things, and I just love the way how she would be with with her fans and the people that would listen to her. And I didn't even think that was doing me anything. And I went along my own life. And as I got older, while working in the professional field as a nurse, as a secretary, different jobs that I had, I started hearing, people might think I'm schizophrenic, a voice inside literally telling me, go to the radio. And I ignored it for some time. And the voice kept getting harder and louder, that to a certain extent I couldn't, ignore it anymore. And I stepped to a French side radio station at the time, and I said to the owner, if you need any English-speaking commercials, please give me a call. And I was trembling when I left the station, and he called me the next day, and as they say, yeah, that was history, and here I am now.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so I noticed a common factor there. As you said, you were a nurse, you did secretarial work, which is the common factor being communication. Because especially as a nurse, you gotta speak to your patient and your colleagues and stuff. So for one, what led you into actually becoming a nurse, and then why the switch?
Of course, my mother was a nurse, a pioneer nurse in the dialysis field, worked at St. Rose Hospital, then went on to the St. Martin Medical Center. And I would always see her, in her uniform and helping people, and she would always come back all happy and stuff like that. And from a small girl, I was always interested in biology. I always got 9s and 10s in biology. I was very good in biology and just fascinated by the human body. And then I went off to the Netherlands and I studied nursing and got my propedeuse and was happy to continue on. And then I came back to St. Martin, worked at the St. Martin Medical Center for a little bit. And yeah, that's how I got into the nursing field. It was in my blood already. But I always felt that there was something more. I could never wear the plain white uniform. I always would put a flower in my hair or bright lipstick, or, I was always dressed up because aside of being, in that field, I was always into entertainment from a young age. Yeah.
Gotcha. So with that, what went into, so the point when you ended up going to the first radio station to record ads and stuff, what went into you developing your voice, and
Well, my teacher actually was Patricio Piper, the main singer of the Youth Waves band. Happened so his wife was also at the time my best friend. And we all grew up with singing with Anastasia Larmoni, and we had training with voices and all that stuff. And he trained me how to work the board and how to, put on the voice when I came on. And like that, after time, my voice developed, with breathing and all of that. And that's how I developed different voices, because remember, you're still in entertainment industry and you have to entertain people with your mere voice. So, you could be all excited and happy, but you could be also sensual and low and sexy. So you have to, it's all about breathing and projecting your voice.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I guess you would say that you didn't necessarily have the challenge of gaining your confidence either, or that was there from the onset?
No, I was always a very talkative person, very talkative, always loud. And, I always felt like, why is my voice so loud? I never understood why that was. And I was made fun of, oh, you're too loud, low down your voice, you're talking too hard. And it did hurt me growing up as a kid because I was always referred to as you're too loud. But eventually we gave the loudness a name. We called her Elektra.
And where did that come from?
Actually, we were looking for a name that suits my personality. So my girlfriend and I, we were like going through all kinds of names and stuff. And first it was Miss Bubbles, and then it was Miss Champagne. And then she says Carmen Electra. And we looked at each other and we said, Elektra. And that was it.
Carmen Electra? Why Carmen?
I don't know. At that time, we were just saying names.
Okay.
And then, like that, Carmen Electra, and then Elektra. Hey, Elektra. And then I built up this whole electric world around it.
Gotcha. And how long have you been in radio since, in general?
We're hitting almost 20-something years. Almost, yeah. Something like that.
Wow.
For sure. Hitting almost 20 years. I think so.
And of course, you've been extremely consistent, too.
Yes, definitely. I took some time off when I got married, did the housewife thing for a bit, became a grandma. But, it was so deeply rooted in the entertainment that, it was just...
You felt the need to be back.
Yeah, I felt the need to be back. And then the fans were saying, oh, we miss you on the radio. We miss you on the radio. When you're coming back? So I came back.
Okay. So over the years, your daily life, your routine, as far as getting on air, what is that like?
Well, actually, I must say, Ralph, in all honesty, I don't know where it comes from, but I think it's because of the social networks that I have, the experiences of life that I make on a daily. I just tap into those life experiences, and that is what prepares me for my daily show. And also, reading things on Google, listening to different programs, and that's how I get my material.
And what has motivated you as well? I mean, do you ever had moments where you felt like didn't necessarily want to come in?
Of course. I mean, I'm only human. I'm like everybody else. Sometimes you get out of bed and you're like, I can't do this today. And, I taught myself to have a switch. I don't know if people can do that, but remember, Elektra is a personality, but it's also part of me. So Elektra is my alter ego, and I've developed my alter ego so well that I can switch it on and switch it off. because behind Elektra is also the woman, the wife, the mother, the sister, the aunt. So yeah, that's how I juggle it.
So let's say, for anyone who's interested in, because, really radio was and still is one of the best platforms for being able to share a message.
Yes.
It has been the platform as well that has made a lot of musicians, made a lot of artists.
Definitely.
If you wanted to get out there, you had to bring it to the
On the
radio.
radio.
But it has changed,
Yes.
in a sense of you can be a social media personality.
That's right.
TikTok now actually kind of influences the music industry more than radios in terms of what becomes a hit with the dance challenges and so forth.
Correct.
So looking at the basics, though, there's still some fundamental things that no matter how the technology change, those things remain the same, which is, with one, developing a personality. So for anyone who's interested in that and been curious about that, how do you go about doing so?
Okay, well, I can just walk through my personal experience, how I developed Elektra. So it started with the name Elektra. And I was on the bed talking to my girlfriend about it, the things that I would want to achieve. And I made sort of a vision board. And I wrote Elektra to the top. And I got creative and I said, okay, if I had fans and if they would follow me, what would I call them? Electrolytes, And then I thought about a slogan for myself, which is let your electricity touch somebody. That was my slogan. And, I would, do anything that would relate with electricity, make things exciting. I love bling, a lot of women events. I love fashion. I love beauty. I love luxury. I love glam. Anything that would, make people feel happy and joyous. And that's how I went about fleshing out the Elektra personality. And that's how it all came together. And I was consistent. That's the main word right there.
Yeah.
Being consistent.
Yeah. Okay. And I actually, no, I think you made that clear because that is really one of the things a lot of people struggle with is maintaining that consistency.
Yes,
I think sometimes what keeps persons back is the fact that they think about what they don't have and where they see themselves, and because you don't have what you see yourself with at the starting phase, you kind of sometimes don't even start an initiative or you get demotivated. But I think what is essential is to persevere, because if you're willing, for example, let's say in terms of like a YouTube, when you create a YouTube channel, you start off with zero.
Yes.
Even the most famous YouTube person had to start off with zero. But over time, that's how you build the following and so forth. So with that, I'm also curious if you could also elaborate, having set those fundamentals in place, what are the essentials of branding, but also marketing yourself and then actually building, growing your personality and so forth?
Well, the way how I grew my brand, I took it very seriously, working in this entertainment industry, and that's what it is. It's show business. It's a media platform, radio is, but of course when you're on radio, you're still putting on a show. And there were a lot of wonderful people that believed in me and loved the content, I would say now, that I was creating, and they supported me. So if they would invite me to a cocktail, if they invited me to dinner, if they invited me just to have some laughs, whatever, I made it a point to go out and attend these events. And then I would post the pictures that I took, all the happy faces, the laughing, the dancing, all of that I would post on my Facebook page, not realizing the impact that it was having on the community, to the fact where people were sending me messages like, it's Sunday night, you haven't posted any pictures yet. Where are your pictures? And I was like, So that's how I started to get my followers on social media, on Facebook. But it's very important to realize that the entertainment industry can be very fickle. One time you're up there, the next time you're not. But if you're consistent, I keep coming back to that word, consistent, and people can trust you. You build a sort of loyalty, you build a sort of credibility, and you have to live up to that credibility. So if you're going to put on an event, you got to bring it. You know, you cannot ask people to sponsor you and then you don't bring it. So all of those different aspects in the entertainment industry, that also helped me to bring my Elektra brand to another level. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Keep it electric. So, you know, one of the things that everyone definitely deals with, but especially when you put yourself in the forefront, is feedback and criticism.
Yes.
Sometimes it can be constructive, sometimes plain out rude. You know, so how have you dealt with that, especially as a woman?
Well, you know, as a woman working in this industry, I must say, you know, here I was confronted with a lot of testosterone. That was the first thing. It was like male dominance. I was the only female at the time when I started, really, and surrounded by just guys on the radio, you know, disc jockeys and personalities. So I had to find my space and show them that I too have a spot here. Doesn't matter your gender, don't matter. You know, it's the work that you deliver as a qualified person. And it took some time. And sometimes, you know, I would just have to shrug those duck feathers and let those comments, you know, come off my back. But that did not deter me. It only motivated me to become better, to work harder, to strive for the goals that I set out to achieve on that little scrap of vision paper that I made many years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you know, you said that you're talkative
Yes.
and that you usually have something to say. But were there ever times, you know, you feel like you had nothing to speak about? And if so, how did you maneuver through that?
Yes, there were times when, for instance, you know, maybe things that were going on in my personal life, they were kind of overwhelming. But as you know, in this industry, they say, and the show must go on, that you just had to find a way to go through it. I wouldn't talk as much, you know, then the phone would ring. Elektra, are you okay? People would know. People would notice right away, like she's not talking a lot. She's not saying much. And it's because then, of course, we all go through daily life situations and challenges and tribulations. And in those days, it would be hard. People don't know. But sometimes I would be all jovial and talking and hyping on the mic, and as soon as I was off the air, the tears would be rolling down my face. And then I know I had like 1 or 2 minutes before I had to be on again, literally on again. So I had to find a way, a coping mechanism to deal with that on and off switch, which I've mastered.
Yeah, which is great. No, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, come to think of it, I guess another thing you could add to your brand is doing some workshops and stuff. I don't know if you ever done those.
Well,
before?
I used to do motivational speaking, and I have done some corporate workshops. I have done that in the past, which I intend to bring about again in this new future. And I hope that a lot of people can learn from my experiences, especially women, because I have a large following of women that look up to me and they encourage me and support me. And without their support and constant encouragement, I wouldn't be also where I am today. So I am so happy about that. And I think I'm only a product of my community. And I want to give back to the community of St. Martin, and I do give back a lot all the time.
Yeah.
I do give back a lot.
Yeah. So another thing, you know, while you have your voice and your platform, as they also say, money talks. This is a field that is competitive as well.
Yes.
Growing in on competition, and again, factoring in social media, which is
Yes.
you know, changed the landscape as well of media and entertainment. So what is it like for you? What you can detail about the skills that you've garnered, but also lessons you've learned in one, I guess, just maintaining your position in the market, but more so, being able to make the bag.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, let me tell you something. We are working in media, but radio is also part of show business, okay? Because you have a show and the show has to continue. So you need to produce. There's no show without a business. That's why it's called show business. Do not kid yourself about that. So if I have to do something and I have to perform or I have to MC or I just have to be somewhere, I need to bring the show. The show is Elektra. The hair, the makeup, the fashion, the beauty, all that is the show part. But that costs money. So you need to also see what is your value as a person, as a personality, and you need to be able to cover your expenses. So that is very important. So when you send out that invoice, okay, I have money for my hair, money for the administration, money for my car, money for whatever it is that you need to continue to produce Elektra. So people should understand what I do is an art form. It's a show, yes. It's YouTube, it's Facebook, but it's an art form. So it's just like any artist would, paint a beautiful painting or a poet or an actor, it's show business. They are getting paid for what they do. And when you have accolades in your journey, in your career, you can also set your price. Listen, I'm not, starting from zero. You know me. You know what
come
I've
with
done.
value.
You know what my value is. So you have set yourself a report card in your career, and that too adds value to your art form.
Definitely. I appreciate you detailing that.
Yes.
So another thing I definitely had in mind too was, what are the main things that interest you, but also how have you developed your interests over the years?
Well, I am interested in a lot of things, and I'm a kind of a adventurous person, and I like to try things. It could scare me, but I like to try things, because if you don't try things, you will not know. You always have to have that open mind. Try to think out of the box. And now coming to content creation, when I think about it now, because now they call it this pretty name, content creation. When I was on the radio way back then, thinking, oh my gosh, I got to do a quiz. What am I going to say? And I had a few seconds and I didn't know what to say. I looked down to my shoes and I said, what colors are my shoes today? And I did not know that would blow up to be such a big thing. Just by asking a silly question like, what colors are my shoes today? And be consistent with it. And it just grew into a whole new monster. So, it's finding interest that you like and not giving half, but giving full throttle to what you want to achieve. Because if you give half, your product's going to be half. But if you give 200%, it's going to look 200%. So people always say, oh, Elektra's arrived to the party. You see me, you hear me, you feel me. And that is the electricity behind that whole Elektra persona. So you have to always bring it.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, as you mentioned, content creation and the like.
Yes.
What has it been like in merging, radio with social media as well?
Well, that was always a dream that I had. I always wanted to do something unique and different. Now we give it the nice name and we call them influencers. And if you think about it, like you said earlier, radio was a platform where people could only hear your voice, not knowing the influence and the impact that I had on my community, where people were seeing me on the street and just wanted to hug me, not ever seeing me, but heard that I was in a shop. And can I hug you, Elektra? Can I say thank you? You saved my life, Elektra. And I realized the impact of my voice, just my voice. And I wanted to bring visuals to that. And then traveling all over, doing work in this radio industry, broadcasting all over the place. I wanted to bring visuals to that. So that's where I started putting that notion together that Elektra is on air, but Elektra can be online. And I started toying with that idea, Elektra on air, Elektra online. And that's how that Elektra online was born. And now I took it to YouTube, which I saw was like the next logical step, because it's like Elektra is on air, Elektra is online, Elektra is on demand, Elektra is everywhere.
Gotcha.
But I went into a lot of thought process about
it. It doesn't just happen just like that.
No.
And so, what would you say are some of your fondest memories as well? Thinking back on, all the events, experiences you've had throughout your career. What are some of those that, are still very dear to you?
How much time you have? I mean, I have so many wonderful, warm memories. I think one of the good memories was when people gave you a chance to be you. And I found that here at Phillipsburg Broadcasting when Francis Cardi, he offered me a job, and I was at the time still working here, but part-time. And there was a slot in the morning. So the job didn't have nothing to do with me being on air, even though I was on air already at night. So he offered me a job. And then there came another voice in my head saying, well, what about if I work in the morning? And then, okay, let me bring it back to the team. And they were like, okay, why not? The slot was available. And the next thing I knew, I was doing this morning show. And the thing
what was the name of that again?
Wake Up with Elektra.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I can tell you, for many months, I was nervous every day. Tummy pains and, sometimes trembling, all of that stuff. And I would get a lot of good feedback from the community that just encouraged me, continue, think about this, don't use this word too much, and stuff like that. And that is what helped me build my confidence. So those were one of the high points. People believing in your ability to do better and to become something. So that was a very nice experience for me. And also having the platform to do what I wanted to do and being allowed to do it. That support. So those were one of my big high points in my life.
Gotcha. I appreciate you sharing that.
In my career then, I would say.
Yeah, I got you. So another thing, kind of non-related to being in media, but you're also a biker.
Yes.
With a Harley, so big time bike.
Yes,
so,
yes, indeed.
I guess that is part of the diversity of Elektra.
Well, I like I said before,
where did that
interest
come from? Okay,
I love adventure, and when you see a bike, you see it looks like cool, and it looks rugged, and it looks sexy, and the bikes are shiny, and the boots, and all that stuff. And I was always attracted to that. And my first experience, and I remember it very vividly, was in 1995. And it was the first day of January, 1996, I'm sorry. 1995 to 1996. It was 31st to the 1st of January. And my cousin at the time was dating a biker. And she says, oh, take her out on the bike. And this is the 1st of January in the dead of winter. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have no clothes, and I had only my boots. He gave me sunglasses, he gave me gloves, a jacket, and even one of his jeans that I had to pull tight with a belt. So I got on this big Harley Davidson in dead of winter, trembling as he started the engine, boom, 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 boom. And I felt the freedom, a freedom you cannot explain. and the sound of the bike, the smell of a little bit of oil. And I was just fascinated. And I always had a passion to learn to ride a bike. So I did start lessons, but then life happened and I stopped. And then I met my husband, and he is a big biker, a passionate biker. And I was like, my husband rides, so, if you want to share in a passion with somebody, and I already like biking, so that's how I started my lessons again. And then I got my
Okay. So I'm also curious then your take on, usually we, that especially with certain incidents, there's this roller coaster, like a topic would be at the peak of the news cycle or news discussions, and it slumps back down and it goes back up. One of them being, for example, bikers.
Yes.
Particularly with reckless riders more so.
Yeah.
But what is your take on that? And as someone who rides bike, on the relation that we've had with bikers and.
Well, because we're in the Caribbean Eagle St. Martin, it's we talk about honor and respect. And we ride very safe. We have a traffic team, front and back. We're always very, very cautious about that. We wear helmets, we wear secure gear. And we always advocate safety. And now having grandkids myself, sometimes we're in the car and we see the scooters and they're doing their wheelies and they want to express themselves. I totally understand that. But I explain to my grandchildren, they are having slippers on. Wrong. They don't have on a helmet. Wrong. They're doing dangerous acts on the street that not only, endanger themselves, but also other motorists. That's wrong. So I always advocate to wear helmets and your secure gear when riding a bike. And I'm totally against what's going on with the scooters and the motorbikes that are doing dangerous acts on the street.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So then finally, one of the things you've also been known for is during the month of October, putting on the big Pink Fest, I could say. So I'm curious most on the behind the scenes of planning and organizing. How has that been like? And what are the main factors that goes into this great expectation for Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
Well, with my celebrity, I wanted to do something good. And you use your platform to reach out to others. And I was confronted with finding a little lump myself in my left breast. And that took me on that scared journey, that rabbit hole, like, could I have breast cancer? And after coming out on the other side with everything being okay, I reached out to the Positive Foundation, Cieli Alfonso, who is my good and dear friend. And, she uplifts me. She keeps me grounded. And we talk a lot about life things. We started something together. And we never knew that it would grow to this magnitude. And, I help her. She helps me. And together we have combined our forces and really developed breast cancer awareness to a whole new level. We're past the pink right now. We want to help people to understand that breast cancer is more than just wearing a pink T-shirt.
Yeah, or ribbon,
And we've gotten connections with the St. Martin Medical Center, with the AUC School of Medicine, working together with CPS, and just pulling in all the resources and doctors that we can need to continue on this awareness process. Yeah, but it's not an easy thing to do. It's hard, and we work hard to develop it.
Gotcha. Okay, so then finally, what would you say, to any youngster out there who is interested in the entertainment and media world?
I know when people see all the videos, when people see all the shiny wardrobe they're wearing and the glasses and the shoes and, the hats and all that cool stuff. It's called show business. But you're not going to make it in show business if you don't work hard. It's tedious hours. You've got to be committed to yourself. You've got to be true to your brand and continue on that path. Be open to criticism. Be open to think out of the box. But again, I cannot stress this enough. You have to work hard. It's hard work. It's not all like, oh, just, no. It's hard, tedious work. So maybe it might come off all glam and easy looking when Elektra does it. And, oh, she just switched it on and she's talking and da 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 da. And no, it's a lot of hard
to build that up.
Work.
Yeah.
To build it up, to switch it on and switch it off like that. And, of course, you have to have serious work ethic. Serious work ethic. Because it comes to show business. And you have to be professional. So I just want to say that to anybody who wants to get into any kind of industry, whether it's entertainment, whether it's in professional business, whatever, you need to do your work and work hard. If you want to be good at what you do, rehearsal. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, you got to show up and show out.
That's it.
Boom.
Just come out there and be that person that you want to strive for. Keep striving for it. And that means that you have to give your all. Because if I give you 50% of me, that's what you're going to feel. 50%. But if I give you 100% high voltage, that's what you're going to feel. So the passion, the love, the blood, sweat, and tears, the late nights, everything is going to come out in my voice. So work hard, play harder.
Perfect. Alrighty, Elektra, I'd like to thank you so much for electrifying the show.
Thank you for having
and to
me.
the viewers, listeners, thank you guys as well. I hope that, you guys also enjoy this conversation. So do take care and be sure to join us again tomorrow.